leading a four-man rush. At center, shot it over the line. Goes behind the goal. Nestorenko was checked. Keon passes back to Hillman. There's the shot. Wait on. Another shot. And goal! George Armstrong whacked in the rebound. Face-off is in the lead zone to the right. It comes back to Stan Mikita. Over to Pierre Pilote. Here's a shot. Bobby Hull tried to deflect it. Bob Bond shot it off the boards and down the ice. Tim Horton, a hooking penalty at 17:36. Gives Chicago a one-man advantage, playing 6 men to 5. The Leafs lead in the game 1-0. A pass over to Pierre Pilote. Hay was knocked flat by Bobby Hull. Fulford. Back up comes Hay with a pass back to Pierre Pilote. With Bobby Hull over the line, it's checked by Brewer. Now leaves it for Hull, and Hull comes down the ice. He's checked by Nevin. Hello, Canada and hockey fans, the United States. Bill Hewitt here at Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto, and the score is 1-0 for the Maple Leafs in this first period with a minute and with Bobby Hull over the line. It's checked by Brewer. Now leaves it for Hull, and Hull comes down the ice. He's checked by Nevin. And Bobby Hull gets the rebound. Out to Stan Mikita, stopped by Mahavlich. Mahavlich over on the left wing. Up over the Chicago line, going right in and goal, score! Up the center. Back to Stan Mikita. Mikita watched by Keon. Rolled it right in front of the net. And Bobby Hull just couldn't control it. Back for Frank Mahavlich. Mahavlich. Checked by Ab McDonald. Then Bond ran into Warren. Fleming is hit by Brewer. It at the blue line. A shot deflected to the corner. Bond goes after it. Ran into Fleming. Fleming took a whack at it. Simmons gets a hold of that. Here's pass for Shack. Hit a skate. Goes back into the Leaf zone. And back to Hay. They're over the line. Hay goes into the board. Hall tried to center it. Brewer ran into Murray Hall and knocked him down. Keon shot it along the boards for Nestorenko, number 15. Nestorenko comes down. He's knocked flying by Brewer. And Young ran into Duff. Howie Young with it, number 2. Young ran into Bond, fell. We're in the final period. 2-0 is the score. Favor of the Leafs. And his pass went to Kelly, and he shot it down the ice. Shack goes after it. Shack steals the puck, going in alone. Did he score? Stole the puck from Elmer Vasco and went in alone to score. And he passed it over to Wayne Hillman. He kept it in. Hillman a pass to Hay. Hay bumped into Brewer, and Brewer knocked Hay down after Hay had given him one. Up for Shack. Back to Kelly. Kelly closes in with a pass for Bond. There's his shot. He ran into Al McNeil. Fleming goes down the ice. Shack caught it with a high stick. Shack gets a hold of the puck. Comes down the right wing with Reg Fleming. Up over the line. Fleming tried to pass it in front. Brewer covers him. And Fulford gets a hold of it. Brewer goes down. Fleming gets the gate. A pass over the line. Pierre Pilote broke it up. Armstrong goes after it. Rolls to Pierre Pilote. He clears it out to the blue line. Duff knocked it in. Then Armstrong's knocked down by Fleming. And there'll be a face-off outside the blue line. Right up to center ice, and there's Eddie Shack with it again. He goes back into his own zone. Still has it. Passes it out to Harris. Harris back to Shack. In with Ron Stewart. A pass to Stewart, and the shot was stopped by Glenn Hall. Back comes Stan Mikita. Up with Reg Fleming. Over the line. Stan Mikita gets a shot. Shack was caught with a high stick. There's going to be a penalty there. Fleming. Shack down on one knee. Now Bond has gone after Fleming. They're at the penalty box. Now here comes Shack. Here Pilatet there. Now Shack is looking at Fleming. And Mikita's in there with him. Fleming is out of the game. They're still arguing there. Now Fleming wants to take on Hillman. Now then Bond gets a hold of Fleming, gets on top of him, keeps swinging at him. Still swinging. Now all the players are coming out on the ice. Now then Horton gets a hold of Fleming, and they're all getting into it. Dan Mikita and Keon. Al McNeil on top. Brewer's got a hold of Murray Balfour, and Balfour pulls his sweater off. Stanley is still trying to pull Hay off. Fleming gets up. Horton has a hold of him. Still has a hold of him. And Hay gets on top of Stanley. Horton has Fleming. Now then Hillman goes at it with McNeil. And they haven't tired yet. Jimmy, this is quite a Donnybrook. We almost saw this coming.
Yeah, Al McNeil and Larry Hillman are going at it. And there's Wayne Hillman standing right by watching his brother fight. One of the very few players that does 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different fights. Look at the goalies down here, Bill.
Murray Balfour chasing Carl Brewer. Murray Balfour wants to get in a few shots. Well, maybe we can get a real full shot of all the gloves and sticks all over the ice. Now then we have Fleming mixing it up again. And Stanley swings at Fleming, and they're all getting into it. Now then, here's Balfour and Brewer again. And Brewer mixing it up with Balfour. They're still at it. Brewer getting on top of Balfour. Now then, they're back on their feet again. Now he's banging with his head. They're still mixing it up. Now then, Balfour and Brewer, and they all get in on it. They're all fighting over at the Leaf bench. And Makita and Duff gets a hold of Fleming. Fleming goes down. Duff has a hold of Fleming. And Chico Mackey is grabbed. Then Nesarenko grabs a hold of him. Vaughn and Stan Makita, our goalkeepers, still watch the melee. Okay, Jimmy.
The goalkeepers must have a union. They've been targeting over. They're not interested in getting in any fights. Bill, there'll be at least 10 players, not at least, there'll have to be 10 players from each side will probably get fines because everybody's on the ice, and all players that come on the ice from the bench to get into a fight get an automatic $25 fine. So I imagine we'll hear more about this little Donnybrook during the week.
Well, we've lost Murray Balfour and Carl Brewer. They went through the board somewhere. Let me see if we can find Brewer. He's back out there. Murray Balfour, can't find him.
They were last seen behind the Leafs bench.
Fleming is still talking to Duff. Al McNeil's in on it. Isn't over yet. Now will be the tough task of finding your gloves.
Well, you could see this coming all night from the opening period. The sticks were sort of, there was a lot of stirring going on. They were sticking players from both sides were sticking the sticks into their tummies, and this is what causes all this excitement, tempers. The referee's got to be a Methuselah to figure this one out.
Well, it certainly erupted very quickly.
Strangely enough, Bill, remember a few years ago when Montreal and Toronto got into a similar fight with a minute or two to go. The referee was Frank Udbury, and on that occasion he cleared both benches, just let 6 players out to finish the game.
Very interesting to see what he does this time, but the Chicago Blackhawks had something like this a little earlier in the season in Montreal, and although all the teams have been getting into it, they certainly ain't going to back down. No team is going to back down in this league. And as you mentioned, with the high sticks flying around, it doesn't take them too long to start dropping sticks then and using their fists.
That's right, Bill.
Maybe it's best that way.
See, some of the fans are a little agitated, although I saw one gentleman lean over and grab a stick and try shooting on the Maple Leaf Gardens ice. He must be from out of town and wants the home folks to know he's here.
Now Howie Young's over
it. There's some fans involved in an argument by the Leafs bench.
Now then, the referee is trying to weigh them all off the ice. This all happens with 3 minutes and 3 seconds left to go. Rangers and Boston are tied 6-6. Montreal 5, Detroit 2, as Henri Richard scored at 19:59. That game's over. Montreal 5, Detroit 2. It's 3-0 here, and I wouldn't even attempt to say what happened in the fight as far as win, lose, or draw. However, we can remind you that this game is coming to you from Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. 3-0 the score. Over on the left wing, the pass go to Howie Young. He breaks it on goal, and Simmons stopped that. And Simmons was hit, and Coulthard clears it out and down the ice. Play is called.
Toronto Maple Leafs 3, Chicago Blackhawks no score.
In this particular fight, it would seem that we had an altercation.
Did he strip your sweater?
I don't remember.
You know,
Let's take a look at the film.
It's gone.
Your
sweater's gone.
Okay, could very well have, yeah.
And how did, I've never seen anybody get pushed through the gate right into their own bench backwards.
Well, it was harmless. I was, at that point, as you can see by the film, I'm a great backward skater. And so I go into the bench, and the bench is there, and Murray Belford put his head down, and he was running me into the boards. Well, I didn't realize the bench was open, and as it turned out, I just went back through the bench and underneath the bench. And that was the end of the fight. Fortunately, a friend of mine came down from the stands by the name of Chateau. Great.
This is the point everybody wants to know.
Even today?
Even today, who
And
hit
what?
Belford?
It wasn't me.
No, and it
Rest assured.
Wasn't Bobby Haggart?
No.
Wasn't Imlach?
It was Dickie Shadow.
Dick Shadow.
Yeah.
And you told me once why he came down.
Well, his son, Randy, was a goaltender, and I was his favorite hockey player.
There you
So Dick and I had a sort of a relationship. But this fight had an indelible imprint on my mind, although, as you see from the fight, nothing really happened. Nobody ever hit anybody. I was coming back from a broken arm, and I really couldn't use my left arm. I was stupid to be playing. But from that incident, I never recovered. My career was never the same.
Go into that a little bit more.
Just psychologically, it just destroyed me.
Yeah?
Yeah,
That's very interesting. You were never the same player after that?
never.
Wow.